aside and let the man go through. Let the man go through. Move aside and let the man go through. Let the man go through. Move aside and let the man go through. Let the man go through. Move aside.
What's up, buddies? How are we doing this week? We're here with episode 4 of the Huddle Buddies Fantasy Podcast, video series, whatever you want to call it. Today we've got some news and notes from this week in the NFL. Just gonna run through those real quick. I am solo today, no guests. Whether it was a timing thing, just kind of a slow week, to be honest with you. I'm not upset about it. I think we're gonna have a lot more people join, and people have said that they want to join. Let's get into the season once we have some teams to talk about and some matchups and trades and waiver wire moves, all that kind of stuff. Gonna be really fun. But I'm here. This is every piece of college gear that I own, because we are talking rookies today. So let's get into it. Let's start with the notes. Jameis Winston. Let's talk about him. Shout out, call back to Ryan in episode 2. He wanted to talk about Jameis Winston. If you didn't watch the mock draft, you didn't get to it, but he's all in on Jameis Winston. He called it before he was even named the starter. Sean Payton said that he wanted to name a starter after this past week's preseason game, and Jameis looked incredible. So everything points to him being the starter to start the season. Taysom Hill will kind of go back into his gadget role that he was doing, and then also be the backup quarterback. So it's not a bad situation for them overall. But Jameis, someone to look out for in the late rounds. Travis Etienne, the biggest news of the week. He is out for the year. Liz Frank injury in his foot in the preseason game, and so we're not going to see him for the rest of the year. He might come back towards the end of the year, but again, first round pick. Jaguars aren't going to be good. They're not going to activate him. So don't even worry about trying to draft a rookie and slot him on your IR spot for next year or anything like that, because we just don't know what he's going to be. And running backs with foot injuries are scary. Darrell Henderson, thumb sprain. It was looking kind of ugly. They're running out of running backs there in LA, but he said he's expected to be good to go for week 1. I don't think they have full confidence in him anymore, because they also traded for Sony Michel from the Patriots. So Sony Michel is now on the Rams. So anyone that was thinking about drafting Darrell Henderson, he was probably going in our league end of the 3rd, maybe 4th round. He's available there just because he's a starting running back on a high-powered offense. But just factor in Sony Michel now. Just know that there's another back there that has some NFL experience, and I'm sure is going to get some carries there. Good news, Carson Wentz looks healthy. He was doing 7-on-7 drills. He's back at practice. Everything points to him being back for week 1. There could be setbacks, but we don't know. Right now, he looks healthy. That's good, because they told us this could be a 12-week injury, and it's not looking like that's going to be the case. Excuse me. DeAndre Swift, Dan Campbell, head coach of the Lions, came out with a statement that kind of shook everyone a little bit. He was unsure of DeAndre Swift's week 1 availability. And he also said in a quote that even if he was available, he's not sure how effective he would be or how much work he would actually give him. So just keep in mind that for DeAndre Swift. TJ Hawkinson, he has an AC joint sprain. He's being held out of practice as a precaution. They're saying he should be good to go for week 1, but he's not going to be doing anything more in the offseason or the preseason. So he will be out. Stephon Diggs is back at practice. He looks good to go. AJ Brown is back at practice, but he's just on the side working with trainers. He's still battling a knee injury or recovering from a knee injury that kind of bothered him last year. I'm not sure if he had surgery on it in the offseason. I didn't do that research, but just something to keep in mind there, because AJ Brown's going, easily as one of the top 10 receivers in this draft. Jalen Hurts looks good. He had to back out of the preseason game, as you remember, but he looks good. Julio Jones is missing practice. That's something to keep in mind in Tennessee. He has an undisclosed leg injury. They just won't say what it is. And he's missing practices because of it. Julio has a huge track record of injuries, especially with his legs and his feet and his ankles. So it's not a great start there in Tennessee. I did also see a stat that in Tennessee, Ryan Tannehill, Julio Jones, AJ Brown, Derrick Henry, they have played a total of 0 snaps together this entire offseason. So something to keep in mind. Could be a slow start there in Tennessee, but I think they're going to be really good this year. So I'm still drafting their players with confidence, obviously. Let's see. We're almost there. Bucks running backs. Leonard Fournette came out and said, he expects to split the early down work with Ronald Jones. So that's, first down, second down, third downs. They now have Gio Bernard, who was on the Bengals the past few years, and he is a third down back. He catches a lot of balls out of the backfield, but he's a veteran that's going to get work. And when you're already talking about a timeshare and then you're talking about a timeshare on just the early downs, I mean, we'll see. Just something to keep in mind if you're thinking about drafting those guys as well. Denver, Teddy Bridgewater was officially named the starter over Drew Lock. So Drew Lock got a little taste of humble pie. He's now the backup. Teddy Bridgewater, I don't think he's that much better than Drew Lock, give or take. But I think there's a chance we see both of them all season. I don't think either one of them are good. But I mean, Teddy is a veteran quarterback. He's looking like a guy. He started in this league except when he blew out his leg on almost every team that he's ever been on. So Teddy B, he hopefully he can throw it to some of those receivers. They got good receivers. Shout out Jerry Jeudy. Throw back to Kale if he's thinking about keeping him. At least it's going to be Teddy B. And we kind of know what we're getting. And then the last piece of news that I've got here on my list is Raheem Mostert. Raheem Mostert, the injury prone running back. I think that's fair to label him as such now. He left practice this week with back pain. This was also the case, or I should say the same practice that Trey Sermon, their rookie running back that they drafted in the third round, who people are really high on, he returned to practice from a small ankle injury. So if Mostert's out already and Sermon looks good, I mean, Mostert's talented. I still like him, but there's nothing to say that Kyle Shanahan's like, listen, I got to go with the guy that's going to be healthy. So something to keep in mind there. All right, that's all I got for news and notes. Look up if anything interested you, just use Google. It's a very useful tool in today's day and age. Let's talk rookies. I'm going to see if I can share my screen here. Bear with me. I wrote up a little rookie guide, if you will. It's essentially an order by ADP. I went through average draft position in some of the mock drafts that I'm seeing, where they're going. I'll tell you where they're going, who they came from, whether you watch college football or not. Some of these guys are names that you just never heard of or never actually took a deeper dive into. Well, I just kind of went over what I've heard from this offseason, from news reports and some articles, and then also watched some quick YouTube highlight tapes on these guys and kind of made my opinion on them. And we've seen a few of them in the preseason as well. So we have a little bit of background there. So let me share my screen. And then if anybody wants this report after, then just let me know. I'll email it out to you guys. So at the top here, you'll see I started them with QBs. There's a couple things you're going to see here. There are a couple of players that I have stars next to. Those players with stars, those are the guys that I really like that actually are going to have an impact this year and potentially beyond. That's, again, my opinion, but this is the work that I did. So I'm going to tell you where they were drafted, who I like, where they came from, kind of some backstory on them so you can gauge whether you want to draft them or not, or if they are available to you come your turn in the draft, that you know enough about them to feel comfortable drafting them. So I put all the QBs together, mainly because we only know about one of these guys actually starting for their team to start the season. That's going to be Trevor Lawrence. He was the first overall pick. None of these guys are going high in drafts for our league. You can get them in the last 4 rounds of the draft. If you want to take a flyer on one of these guys, maybe they break out. You have another veteran that, you like, but you'd rather have a rookie that can come in and give you some real good long-term quarterback play. I mean, ask Warren about keeping Patrick Mahomes the past couple of years for nothing. It worked out pretty well for you. I'm not saying any of these guys are Patrick Mahomes. Don't get me wrong. So let's start with Trevor Lawrence. He was the consensus #1 pick for about, I don't know, the past 4 years since he was a freshman in college. People were saying he should leave and he would be the #1 pick after his freshman year. Well, he's finally here, and he's reunited with Urban Meyer. I think they're just going to kind of go through this year. They're making him the starter from day one. I think he's going to just take his lumps. I think him and Urban Meyer are going to figure out this NFL thing together. Whether you want to be a part of that or not is whether you believe in Trevor Lawrence or not. But yeah, and then going down the list, Justin Fields, he was the 11th overall pick in this year's draft. He's not starting. Andy Dalton is starting over him. Very well could easily start very soon after the first couple of weeks. I don't know when their bye week is, but most times teams will look to make a quarterback change after their bye week. If they have an early bye week 4, week 5, week 6-ish, I could easily see them trying to make a move if they're not very good, which all indications point to them not being very good. They also play in a very, very tough division, so that won't be easy. People are really high on Justin Fields. I didn't really see it in the preseason games. I saw a lot of mistakes. He's a rookie, so all this is with a grain of salt, obviously. But I think he could be good. I just don't think he's special. He doesn't look special. Maybe I'm wrong. This next guy, though, Trey Lance. I have said it many times before. I'm planting my flag on Trey Lance. I think he's going to be phenomenal. Third overall pick. You don't become the third overall pick behind two other quarterbacks by accident because you're not good. San Francisco desperately wants a quarterback that A, can stay healthy and be on the field, B, can actually throw the ball so they don't have to run the ball 40 times because none of their running backs can stay healthy. Well, Trey Lance can do all those things. I watched some of his videos and it just reinforced everything that I had heard and what I believed. This guy has just got pop. He's got an X factor that you can just see when you watch his videos. I personally believe that San Francisco should, all right, let's play the Jimmy Garoppolo game for a little bit. But after like 3 weeks, 4 weeks, let's just give this guy the ball, give him the green light and let him take his lumps and just live with the results. Watch his tape. It's really good. I'm not going to call him Diet Mahomes. I'm really excited about him, but Mahomes is special and he can do things that no one can do. But Trey Lance has a lot of the same characteristics as Mahomes. He just doesn't have those special sidearm, no look, behind the back passes and all that stuff that Patrick Mahomes, the MVP of the league, can do. But I do really like Trey Lance. You can probably get him in the last 4 rounds, kind of stash him with another quarterback, like I said. And then the last two guys, Zach Wilson, second overall pick, right in front of Trey Lance. He's the prom king. He looks young. Him and Ryan Ginsburg could be team or classmates, if you want to call it that. He just looks little. I watched a quick highlight tape of him in the preseason game on the Jets, and he's so small. But when he throws the ball, it fires out of his arm. I don't know what happened, but it fires out of his arm. I think it's going to be an ugly year. I actually took a bet online. We're still using Bovada out here, I guess until October or something like that. But on Bovada, I got Zach Wilson over 20 interceptions on the season. Why not? Who knows? I don't think it's going to be a good year for the Jets. I don't think anybody does. And let's see if I can win some money off of it. And then the last guy that I put on the list, 15th overall, Mac Jones. This is the only other guy that realistically has a chance to start the season as a starting quarterback for their team. He's got to beat out Cam Newton. Well, Cam Newton's not there right now. And everything that I'm reading is that Mac Jones is lighting it up. He's looked really good in the preseason games. And I think Bill Belichick might turn around and say, let's just give the kid the ball. Cam Newton's not making a lot of money. He's making $3.5 million this year, easily cuttable. Maybe they just want to go with Brian Hoyer as their backup to Mac Jones and just see what happens. Cam's not going to be a backup in the NFL. That's not his MO. He's not going to do it. He's never done it. He's never been it. I don't even think he would be a good backup, to be honest with you. So for $3 million, cut him, cut loose, and let's move on. That's my opinion. They haven't officially named it. We'll see what happens. But Mac Jones looked really good. I watched his tape. Honestly, it's really lazy and it's really basic. But if you watch him in the preseason games on the Patriots, he looks like Tom Brady. All of his mannerisms, his throwing motion, his movements with his legs, like he just looks like Tom Brady, or I don't want to say Peyton Manning because they don't look the same. It's more of a Tom Brady. But yeah, that's what I got on Mac Jones. Who knows? Maybe he won't be very good, but he looks good so far. So those are the quarterbacks, late round guys. We're going to talk now the wide receivers, running backs, tight end, rookies that you're drafting throughout the draft, anywhere from second round on a lot of these guys. Sixth round, the middle round guys that you can take flyers on once you have your starters established. So let's start with Najee Harris. I got a star next to his name. I just think this guy's gonna be good. He was drafted to be great. That's a phrase that I stole from the Fantasy Footballers podcast, but it makes complete sense to me. There are certain guys that are drafted every single year to be great in the position that they were drafted, in the situation that they were drafted in, with the draft capital that they were drafted to be great. Najee Harris was drafted in the first round of this past draft. He's an Alabama running back. Do we need to go down the list of Alabama running backs that have had success in the NFL? I mean, Derrick Henry, Mark Ingram. I'm missing guys. I'm blanking right now, but even guys like TJ Yeldon, who weren't even starting guys that really had full impacts, they still went to the NFL and had great success. So Najee Harris is just the next guy in line. Oh, Damian Harris. He's the starting running back up in New England now, especially with Sony Michel gone. So just more guys, but Najee Harris, I think, is that next guy. The Steelers O-line, they stink. They're horrible, but I think this guy's just going to get so much opportunity that it's gonna work around that. He also can catch the ball very well out of the backfield, and Big Ben likes to throw his running backs. See James Conner, see Le'Veon Bell, see not Damian Williams. What was that guy's name? Someone tell me his name. Something Williams. He came from Carolina. He went to Steelers, and he had a great year in like filling in for Le'Veon Bell when he went down. Anyway, you get the point. I think he's going to be great. He's also huge. He played 4 years. This guy's a grown man. He's 6'2", 230, played all 4 years at Alabama. And you're probably just hearing about these Alabama running backs. They stay till their senior year because they're behind great running backs. There's nothing you can do. Next guy on the list, Kyle Pitts, tight end out of Florida. He was drafted number 4 overall in the NFL draft as a tight end. This guy is a transcendent talent. Everyone claims he could possibly be the greatest tight end ever. Let's pump the brakes. We always do this with guys, just chill. Let's let him actually play first. But again, another guy, he was drafted to be great. You are not drafted in the number 4 overall selection as a tight end if you are not expected to be great. Also, they let Julio Jones go. They let him go. They said, we're going to stick with Calvin Ridley and Kyle Pitts and whoever else. And we expect they're going to throw him the ball. Now, he is a rookie tight end, and I believe the stat goes no rookie tight end, or the best rookie tight end season ever. If you compare them year over year with fantasy tight ends, as slim as it is, the best rookie tight end season of all time only slots into like 12th overall that season or something like that. And I did a terrible job of laying out that stat, but go look up rookie tight end seasons if you are a Kyle Pitts person and think he's going to be amazing his rookie year. Little analysis on Kyle Pitts. He is wide receiver fast. Like, he is a tight end, but he can run really, really well. When you throw, he likes to catch the jump ball, goal line, end zone plays, just throwing it up down the field. Think Jimmy Graham on the Saints when he was in his prime and he wanted to be paid as a wide receiver. Well, this guy's got those skills. Plus he's fast, like actually wide receiver fast. I would say for today, think Darren Waller, guy who can catch 10, 11, 12, 13 passes a game. But he's faster than Darren Waller, who actually coincidentally is also a former wide receiver. Travis Etienne, I need to update this. I wrote this out before the injury, but obviously he's out for the year. But he was drafted in the first round again. That was a questionable decision by a lot of people because Jacksonville is very bad. So why spend a first round pick on a running back? But here we are. Don't worry about Travis Etienne this year. We'll do this again next year. Jamar Chase, 5th overall pick in the NFL draft. He is going around the 6th round this year in our draft, in our league's draft, based off the mocks I've been doing. There's a lot of negative energy coming out of the reports of Cam. He again was drafted to be great. 5th overall. This guy was touted to be a true number 1 wide receiver, the best wide receiver. Think Odell Beckham Jr., but better. That's what people were saying, not me. That's what people were saying. He played at LSU. He played with Joey Burrow when Joe Burrow lit up the league, won the Heisman, broke all the NCAA records for his season. Jamar Chase was his number 1 wide receiver. He sat out 2020. I don't know if that was, I'm sure it was a combination of COVID. I think his draft stock could not get any higher. And so I think he made the decision to just sit out. And I think that's kind of what's playing into some of the negative news that's coming out of camp and preseason. I think that's what's going on. This guy hasn't played football in a long time. He's still special. He's still super fast. He's strong. He's got all the tools to be a number 1 wide receiver. I just think he just hasn't played football. In his last preseason game, he had 3 passes thrown to him and he dropped all 3 of them. Not that, they were overthrown, they're bad, that he dropped them. People are saying in camp that he can't create separation. He's having trouble. They've got good wide receivers there. T. Higgins is still a really good wide receiver. He got over 100 targets last year. And then you've got Tyler Boyd still there. You got some other guys that could play in front of him if he's just not great yet. And that's okay. He could take a little bit of time, but this would be the highest that a rookie wide receiver is being drafted in fantasy in a long time. And a lot of those other top guys that have even gone first round, they never really panned out to be worth a 5th, 6th round pick in fantasy in the past. So just something to keep in mind. Javonte Williams, running back out of UNC, he was drafted in the 2nd round. So, a 2nd round running back is practically as good as a 1st round running back, if you ask me. A lot of guys, running backs fall the 2nd round just because of their position. Right now he's being drafted 6th, 7th round, maybe, depending on who else is on the board. But he's got workhorse size and speed and potential. He can break away from people if you get him in the open field. Now it's college. There's not a lot of breakaway runs in the NFL, but he does have that speed. And there's plenty of tape out there where he will lower the shoulder and just kind of run through the tackles. He's also got a nose for the end zone. This guy just if the goal line is in sight and there's 1, maybe 2 guys in front of him, he's gonna do everything he can to try to get across that goal line. And it sounds very easy and self-explanatory, but you'd be surprised. And yeah, I think he's going to be really good. He is in Denver. He's behind Melvin Gordon, behind 1A, 1B, whatever you want to look at it. But it's not like he's got the whole backfield to himself. Moving right along. Trey Sermon. Ohio State. He's in San Francisco. We kind of talked about him in the news and notes today with Raheem Mostert. When you watch his tape, I've watched him at Ohio State. He actually played in the Fiesta Bowl. For those of you that don't know, I used to work for the Fiesta Bowl for a number of years. So I saw a lot of these Ohio State guys, Clemson guys, like all this stuff, like live for a game. That's just a fun plug. That doesn't mean anything. But I watched Trey Sermon. When I watch him live, I go, this kid's special. He's a really good running back. I'm going to back up off of that. I don't think he's special. He doesn't have any top end special talent or anything like that, but he's a very good running back. And I think he is in the best situation of any rookie running back in this draft, Najee Harris included. The 49ers want to run the ball. They have an amazing, let's call it an amazing O-line. They're huge. Kyle Shanahan wants to run the ball. He wants to throw short passes. He doesn't want his quarterbacks getting hit. And I think he's going to get a lot of work because we talked about Raheem Mostert. He's already hurt with a back injury. Jeff Wilson, remember him last year? He had a couple good games. He's already hurt. And they've got a bunch of other guys, but they're looking for 1-2 guys. If Mostert can stay healthy, they're going to both see work. So I think he's got a really good situation. His tape, he looks a lot like Carlos Hyde, another Ohio State running back that went to the 49ers. But he looks a lot like him, just less spin moves. Carlos Hyde loved to spin. All right, let's talk about Devontae Smith, Alabama wide receiver, Heisman Trophy winner from this past year, and Nick Barber's cause of stress for this season if he doesn't perform well. You can get Devontae Smith 7th round if you're really into him. 8th round, typically he'll be around. He was also drafted to be great. Now, I say that, but I don't know if that's fair or not. Like, should he have been drafted 10th overall? That's up for debate. A lot of people would debate no, but when you win the Heisman and you're that fast, people fall in love with you. So he was drafted that high. When you're drafted that high as a wide receiver, you're drafted to be great. He is really fast. When I say really fast, I mean he is really, really fast. I don't know. I don't have any numbers. He's just really fast. It's his footwork, his separation, and his quickness has made him great. Will it translate to the NFL when everything just gets faster? Can he get faster? That'll be the case for him. But in Philadelphia, they don't really have a lot of wide receivers challenging right now for any of that spot. It's really him at the top just because of draft capital. He's going to get all the chances in the world to be their number one. Jalen Reagor was their first round pick last year. I don't know. We haven't heard anything about Jalen Reagor. He was a first round pick. So I don't know. I guess if you draft first round picks every year, eventually your wide receiver core is going to get good. I don't know. Michael Carter. Hey, Ryan Parrish, pay attention because you said that you weren't aware of who this guy was. Well, you should pay attention. It's not going to really matter this year. I don't think he has an amazing year by any means. A lot of people were really high on him earlier in the year. He was drafted in the 4th round out of UNC. We talked about a UNC running back earlier. That was Javonte Williams. Michael Carter was his 1B, their thunder and lightning, if you will. So you got 2 running backs being drafted in the draft out of your backfield. You probably had a decent year, but at the same time, it was UNC. Who knows? He's very small. I don't want to call him a gadget back because he did take handoffs in college, a lot of them, but he's only 5'8" and he's under 200 pounds. He's got really quick feet. He's a great pass catcher. He's going to fall right into that small running back mold where you just hope he doesn't get killed. He can make people miss. And I think he's going higher in drafts than he should be, mainly because of the running back scarcity. He's a rookie running back. He could be the starter. Tevin Coleman is the other running back there at the Jets. And I don't know if Michael Carter, I don't think he's going to ever be a lead back. Let's put it that way. He'll always have another guy there. And on top of that, I don't know if he's necessarily going to be successful. We just don't know. So I think he's going 8th round, 9th round, just because running backs are so hard to come by. But just heads up there. This next guy I really, really like. I don't love his situation, but it's getting better. Jalen Waddle out of Alabama. This past year, we're talking about all these Alabama guys. Yeah, Alabama's really good on offense. We've got their quarterback, we've got their starting running back, and we've got 2 of their starting wide receivers. It's not a coincidence, people. Well, Jalen Waddle, he went 6th overall in the draft, so right behind Jamar Chase, and I think he easily could be the best wide receiver out of this entire draft class. Devontae Smith included, Jamar Chase included. We're going to talk about Rondell Moore. We're going to talk about Elijah Moore. I don't think any of those guys even come close to what Waddle's going to be able to do. He didn't play last year. He had an injury. He was out for like 95% of the year. He tried to come back late just to play in whether it was a conference championship or the CFP semifinals and stuff like that. But he came back for one game and they essentially just shut him down after a while because there was no point in him risking any of that. He was going to be such a high draft pick anyway. The best part about Jalen Waddle, he's probably the best wide receiver, like I said, and he was not drafted to be great. They didn't need him to be great. They don't need him to be great. He is icing on the cake there in Miami. They have some receivers that they like. They have Will Fuller. They have Devontae Parker there. They have Jalen Waddle. They have some other guys. Albert Wilson, who's a veteran there. I don't think he's very good. Don't get me wrong. I'd rather have Jalen Waddle, but he's still there. They don't need him to be great. Oh, also Miami. Who's their quarterback? Tua. Guess who is Jalen Waddle's quarterback at Alabama? Tua. Sensing a theme here. They just want to keep reuniting college players with their college quarterbacks. So there's familiarity there. He is really, really, really good. Devontae Smith, we talked about how fast he was. Well, guess what? Jalen Waddle is faster. He's got better hands and he runs better routes. Period. Sorry, go watch the tape yourself. It's true. I'm really high on Jalen Waddle. I'm going to be targeting him for sure. Next on the list, this is not a homer pick at all. This is Rondale Moore. He was drafted in the second round out of Purdue. He's going to the Arizona Cardinals. You can get this guy last 4 rounds of the draft. Nothing too crazy because he's got some guys in front of him. AJ Green's there with DeAndre Hopkins. AJ Green, whatever you think about him, he's still in the NFL and he's still at least good enough to get on the field as a number 2 wide receiver in an offense, whether you like it or not, especially over a rookie. Now, that's not a bad thing because Rondale Moore easily can play the slot. He's a smaller guy, but he's Steve Smith 2.0. Ice up, son. Ice up. That's literally what he needs to adopt as his catchphrase. He would be very wise to talk to Steve Smith and be like, I want to be you, because he would have an extremely successful career. This guy is compact. He's strong. He's explosive. And when I say he's intentional with his actions on the field, if he's going forward, he's going forward. If he's going to go right, he's making his hardest move to try to cut around you. But more than likely, he's going to try to run you over. He's very fast. They love to get him in the screen game. He can take a slant and take it 90 yards if that's the case, 80 yards, 60 yards, whatever you want to call it. He can take those long slants. He's not a jump ball guy by any means, but that's okay. That's what DeAndre Hopkins and AJ Green are for. If people really believe in Kyler Murray, they think this is going to be a high-paced offense. Got an improved offensive line in Arizona. They went out and traded for Rodney Hudson, the center. I think that's going to really anchor that line. They signed some other guys. So, hey, you never know. Some people are down on the Cardinals and Cliff Kingsbury. I don't think Cliff Kingsbury is a very good coach. But when you have this much talent, young or not, you have the number 1 overall pick at Kyler. He was the number 1 quarterback in fantasy last year. That's not by accident. So keep in mind, Rondale Moore, I think he's going to have a really good career. Oh, and fun fact, he can squat 600 pounds. So Elijah Moore came from Ole Miss. He's with the Jets. He looked really, really good in his college highlights. He was drafted in the second round, by the way. He went to Ole Miss. He was teammates with A.J. Brown, and A.J. Brown loves it. Whether he's friends with him or not, he just won't stop talking about him. Elijah Moore is small. He's also 5'9", 185. But when I watch his tape, he moves like Antonio Brown. And I know that's a crazy name. I'm not saying he is Antonio Brown. I don't think he's as good as Antonio Brown by any means, but he's quick like that. He's got very quick feet. He's sharp cuts out of his routes, and he can catch long balls and run with them. He looked very special on this college tape. It's college. We'll see if it'll translate. He did play at Ole Miss. That is the SEC, something to take into account. But his situation's also just not good. The Jets are not going to be good this year. They've got a rookie quarterback. They've got a rookie running back that they're hoping takes the lead. We just talked about him and Michael Carter. Elijah Moore is a rookie wide receiver. They've got Denzel Mims, who is a second-year wide receiver or a third-year wide receiver maybe. And then Corey Davis there. Corey Davis has disappointed a lot of people over the years from when he was on Tennessee. So, and also he's got a rookie head coach in Robert Saleh, who came over from the 49ers, who's also a defensive coach. So just a lot of unknowns there. He looks like he could be good, worth a flyer. Probably going to go undrafted and should go undrafted, and he's going to have a big game one day, and someone's going to be scrambling to pick him up. That's how fantasy works. The next guy, we've only got 2 more guys, so don't worry. Rashad Bateman, he was drafted in the first round of this past year's NFL draft. He out of Minnesota. He's going to the Baltimore Ravens, who desperately need wide receiver help. Marquise Brown is like their lead wide receiver out there. he's not very good even when he is healthy. And right now he is not healthy. He's missed the entire offseason and preseason. Sammy Watkins is there. We've talked about him in prior pods. I think Sammy Watkins is going to be fun. Week 1, he might catch a lot of touchdowns from Lamar Jackson. He might catch 2 touchdowns for 130 yards, and I wouldn't be surprised at all. And I don't think he'll be in my lineup or on my roster, but the week 1 Sammy Watkins is elite. Play him, trade him. That being said, Rashad Bateman looks really, really good. He does have an injury history. He was touted as one of those top guys, along with the Alabama wide receivers, along with Jamar Chase. He was right up there with those guys, and his tape shows it. He looks really, really good. Jump ball guy. He's got all the tools to be their number 1 guy. And not just on Baltimore. I mean, any guy, any team, he would be one of their top receivers. He's got those tools, but he's injured. He's injured a lot, and he's already injured right now in the offseason and preseason. He isn't playing, and he's not healthy. So that's why he fell in the draft, and that's why he's probably going to go undrafted and probably going to be a question mark for most of this season. If I'm proven wrong, I'm proven wrong. The last guy on here is simply an honorable mention, Kadarius Toney. And the only reason I'm mentioning him is because he was drafted in the first round of the NFL draft. He's already hurt. He's not playing. He has missed all of the offseason, I believe. He might have started like rookie minicamp, whatever, but he hasn't played. The Giants look terrible. They have no offensive line. Daniel Jones is not great. I don't know. The Giants don't. Saquon Barkley, we don't know if he's even going to play for the first couple of weeks. But Kadarius Toney's film says that he could be good. He's extremely shifty. He didn't come on until really late in college. I think he transferred. I could be wrong there, but think Percy Harvin. He's gonna a lot of screens, a lot of gadget plays, reverses. He's very fast. Honestly, if they made him a kick returner, he might have a really good career. But I think that's really all it is. You're not drafting Kadarius Toney, but he was drafted in the first round, so I felt like I should mention him. And that's our rookies. So like I said, if you guys want this as a little cheat sheet, you don't want to do your own homework. I know most people don't look into the rookies going in. It's okay. But yeah, this is some good stuff. And again, these are just my opinions. Oh, one thing I forgot to say about Trey Lance. He has one of the best nicknames already in football. They call him Trey Area. Like, come on, that's so cool. If I was a 49ers fan, I would just run around screaming that and be super obnoxious. Like, that's awesome. I don't know. I'm really high on Trey Lance. I think he's going to be really, really good. Anyway, I'm digressing. So that's what we got. It's episode 4. Our draft is taking place. I just looked. It's 12 days away. So we're getting there. I'm excited. Some people might be having other drafts already, but I'm really excited for this one. We're gonna have some cool stuff. We'll do it at Warren's house. We'll have the draft board again. We're gonna do some live picks. We're gonna put the picks up on the board. We've got a special surprise for you guys that we've been working on, courtesy of my job. So we're really trying to make this fantasy league something fun. I enjoy doing these. I was solo today. Again, I'm always happy to have you guys come on. I will always drop in the group text when I'm recording that week. This week was kind of wonky. We had some things going on, but typically I'm going to try to do them Wednesday evenings, right before waivers go through for Thursday. So let's have some action there. And yeah, it's going to be really fun. Let's have a good year. Episode 4. I'm out. Peace.